You're listening, but it's hard to commentate, I guess, unless somebody's acting along with me, I guess. It's weird talking to yourself with no responses. But I guess I can read if you text. Going to try to get at least the upper and lower frame finished before the stream's over tonight, maybe more. My boss actually gave me the day off tomorrow. Imagine that. It'll be the first Sunday I've had off since sometime in mid-October. Steve, are you on the Discord somewhere? I'm not sure what everybody's screen name is to real name, so. Would you be imp or no? Awesome. So have you built your own already or in the process? I'd imagine a little further than me. So you're where I was about a few days ago then. Yeah, I went ahead and ordered the Arbor press. I have one at work, but it's kind of annoying having to worry about running to work to press anything I want. I've wanted one for a while anyway. And then a few of the BOM tweaks still haven't come in yet, but will soon. So you were working on the V1 then? Yeah, my Harbor Freight is a lot farther than I wish to drive to, unfortunately. There's no Harbor Freight in proximity to where I live. I did try to swing by Menards to see if I could pick one up, but they didn't have any. Gotcha. Yeah, I originally started designing my own printer ages ago. And then when Josh posted on Twitter about the Jubilee, I started changing my plans to add tool changers to my design based on his. And then eventually it got to the point where I'm like, why am I bothering continuing along this path when there's a better path set before me already? Only problem is I already have a few of the parts I had ordered for the other one that aren't compatible with the Jubilee, but oh well. Maybe I'll upgrade my big box eventually. I've just been seeing a lot about the Clipper popping up on the Discord, but I guess I still don't fully appreciate what it's capable of. I mean, I kind of get the concept where you can network boards together, I guess, but I guess it would probably be cheaper than going the duet route, but I like the community, I guess. Yeah, I would imagine, but it looks like there's a few of you that are banding together to make it happen, right? I had already ordered my duet anyway before I realized that there was an option such as Clipper. I had no idea there was another expandable family of boards in existence. 6, 12, 14. I was a little skeptical of these angle brackets at first, but I kind of like them now that I've used them a little bit. I was thinking they wouldn't be as nice as they are. Like I'd always use the slotted nuts that you have to drop in like external 90-degree brackets whenever I'm doing the building anything out of extrusion, but they seem pretty solid. I don't know if you just don't have a mic or don't feel like it, but I do not believe whatever you would say would come through the Discord into the YouTube stream. I've got you on my head, or got all the voices going through my headset, so my mic shouldn't pick up anything. If you were worried about that, if you don't want to just simply don't want to be on the mic, that's fine. Just throwing that out there. Ah, gotcha. Yeah, my son's at his grandma's, and my wife has her things to occupy her time that she's happy to do. So finally get a little free time to myself tonight, a little more than usual. Hence the stream starting about an hour before usual. Also, my dog is upstairs. When you go to start this, I originally tried to drop these extrusions in and then put the set screws in and then put the Loctite on them, but I'm thinking I like this method much better. Kind of loosely pre-assemble them, put a tiny drop of Loctite on them, and then proceed to assemble after. Yeah, I think my dog's vet visit comes up in April. I'm trying to. It's listed in the wiki. This is medium strength thread locker blue by Permatex. It's very liquidy. I feel like it's more liquidy than normal Loctite. Obviously, it's not the name brand Loctite. It's an equivalent. But there's like a tool section in the wiki that I believe this is listed in. You definitely don't want to use anything too aggressive if you want to change things in the future. If it's anything like my big box, I'm sure I'm going to be taking apart, disassembling, reassembling, changing. So I wouldn't want to use anything more substantial. Anyway. By the way, if I'm ever doing something and it's off camera and I should be doing it on camera, feel free to let me know. I'm pretty new at this whole concept of live streaming anything to anybody. So I very well might make a rookie mistake such as that. Oh, I'm doing it right now as I'm talking about it. How about that? Yeah, I'll probably be doing a non-standard tool, although Brian's already ahead of me with the Hermera, but my build is substantially further behind his, so I'll probably be also I'll be doing that, but I also have some extra Titans, so I figure I'll be doing 2 direct drive Hermeras, and then I will do a couple Bowden style Titans, since I have them anyway. G5 Flex 3 drive. I'm not sure about that one. Is it just something you have laying around, or is it something that you think is somehow superior in general? Or is it just got the most bang for the buck type of scenario where you're not paying premium components, but you still get a good solid extruder? Wow. Oh, gotcha. So it's kind of like, oh, what did they call that thing? Zesty Nimble? By the way, I'm not sure who else is watching. I see there's 3 people in the stream. Feel free to jump into the chat if you wish. More the merrier. By the way, do you like seeing the PDF while I'm doing this? I thought it was kind of nice to have that little picture-in-picture going. Cool. And how about the quality of the mic? I'm just actually using a telephone headset. I think it probably might be okay, but you know, I can't hear myself, so awesome. Ah, cool. I'm glad you guys like it. I'm glad YouTube stream is actually working now. I tried not to do too much out of the stream, so I wanted it to be somewhere where people could see it. Most of the first 2 days was just organizing for the most part, aside from building the lower frame. Ah. By the way, I have no particular horrible feeling of like I can't put my face on camera. I just didn't figure you guys wanted to see it. More interested in the build, but if for some reason you're particularly interested, I can switch camera views for some. But figured I'd just continue as is for now. By the way, Josh, I don't know if you answered my question or not, because Discord didn't flag it, and I got so busy at work I've lost track of where it was. But for these pieces right here, I ended up drilling this out to get a little bit of clearance for these. Is there any particular reason that was a bad idea? I figure at some point I might show my face just so you guys know who it is when I walk up to you and rep fast and say hello. But okay, cool. Yeah, I was just thinking that for stuff like that, upsizing the hole, not that you need to change the STL or anything like that, but just for ease of assembly, it'd be nice to have kind of a loose fit for the printed piece. But not necessary for you to go and edit anything. It's just a small, minor observation. Nice. No worries. You don't have to sit here and watch it. I'm 3 hours ahead of you, so I understand. I was just at dinner. Yeah, I don't know what you do, but I usually size, like if I want to have something sized really close or really snug for 3D printing, I always, like at least at 2mm layers, I will do add 0.4 millimeters to the diameter to get kind of that really snug fit. Because you end up, what I've, through testing with calipers, at least with my printer, I don't know if this is true for everybody, but I find that the printers always undersize the holes with, like I said, those particular set of constraints. Like 2mm layers or 0.3mm layers. I always find that the 3D printers undersize the holes by about 0.4 millimeters. At least that's, again, my particular printer. I don't know if that's true for everybody, but. That's probably a true statement. I always do my outer walls last because of overhang-ish, you know, like it gives the overhang something to stick onto. But there's a phenomenon with the plastic as it extrudes. It will, and you're going in a straight line, the plastic builds up on either side of the line equally. But when you're going in a circle, you actually extrude more filament towards the inside of the circle just by the nature of how the filament's squeezing through the nozzle. And it seems to be relatively consistent across many different hole sizes that I've tried. But yeah, you could be correct about the inner outer wall thing. Yeah, so maybe your chart has 3D printer clearances in it. I'm not sure, but when you're designing 3D printed parts, I find you have to take in, I'm sure you know this, but take in special considerations for how plastic comes out of the nozzle. I'm no expert by any means, but it's kind of like goes back to that one thing I was showing you the other day with how I like to put diaphragms across the bottoms of holes, and that when you have an unsupported hole, like a shoulder bolt hole, it makes the print come out much cleaner. At least that's what I find. Yeah, I've spent quite a bit of time trying to figure out ways to make it better, but you're always going to have some undersizing. Oh, and it also depends on what orientation the holes are printing in too. If you're printing them vertically, they have a different tolerance than when you're printing them horizontally. So you two print outer walls first, I take it? I always did it the other way to try to improve overhangs, but I guess I never really thought about it that way. By the way, Josh, I really like the way you've set up how to assemble the outer frame. Like some of this I would have never even thought of, like how you get them all to align with these nice little brackets and stuff. I really like that. Hmm. So how do you feel that it affects the overhangs when you print outer layer first? Gotcha. Yeah, I guess, did you have outer first as a suggestion for the printed parts? I don't remember, but might be a good suggestion to add to the wiki if that's the way you designed and intended to use parts or the printed parts to be printed. Sorry, I'm a little off camera here. Let me see if I can. You might have had it on Thingiverse, and maybe I just didn't even look at it, which is completely possible. I probably looked at the major settings that you had, and I might have forgot to look at something like that. I don't remember. Oh, my clamp just fits this rail. It is literally millimeters, or not even like a millimeter of clearance. What the heck? There we go. Yeah. Sorry, I can't really get this on camera. There, you can see the clamp. No problem. Yeah, I hope I don't get annoying. I know you said you want to hear it, but I feel like when I nitpick little things that I'm not trying to nitpick. I'm just trying to help. I just had to restart. Yeah, it's kind of funny. I noticed in the wiki the plates are red. I had no real intention in making red plates to match the wiki. It just came out that way by accident. Mostly, I just didn't feel like changing the filament in my printer. Gotcha. Yeah, I remember seeing somewhere Josh starts his printer up and lets it warm up while he starts getting the slicer ready. Yeah, I've always kind of done that. I never really thought about doing that for any reason other than I didn't feel like waiting for the printer to warm up. But I guess I've unintentionally allowed my bed to preheat itself and kind of even out while I'm doing that. By the way, if you're using a glass bed, I really loved this stuff. It works great for my big box with a glass bed. I believe you can buy it on Amazon now. Of course, if you're not using a glass bed, then it's worthless to you. Gotcha. Yeah, sometimes I can only skim the Discord. I've been working and don't always have time to read it properly. Yeah, I would have never thought about thermal expansion before you had brought that up. I'm electrical engineer by education, not mechanical. So heat and expansion and all that good stuff has always flown a little under my radar. But we got you looking out for us, so that's good. By the way, possibly as a optional part, a nice long clamp so you can really get these frame pieces squared up might be a good optional accessory people could buy. I know there's people already kind of balked a little bit about the price of the arbor press, but you know, it's only recommendations. They can do whatever they want, of course, in the end. By the way, Josh, I don't remember if I've told you this, but you've inspired idea I want to try out. Since I've made a custom bed for my laser cutter, I want to, and it's actually out of 2020 extrusion just by happenstance. I think I'm going to try to add in some tool changer plates essentially to it that will allow me to drop in different fixtures at a drop, you know, whenever I feel like it. I can just pull the fixture out and drop in a different fixture for, you know, like if I want to do coasters one day or if I want to do, you know, whatever it is. I think it'll be a really cool way to swap stuff out using the tool changer geometry ball alignment method. Of course, the downside to the K40 is that there isn't a whole lot of room, and the Z-axis I designed is not particularly stable anyway, so I don't know that I really need the precision, but I think it'll be good practice anyway. Yeah, I had my first printer was just some random one I bought back in 2014, all acrylic frame, and I had no idea what I was doing. And the bed was kind of terrible to begin with, so I understand bed woes. The big box has a nice borsilicate glass bed on top of a PCB, so I've never really had too much problem with it. Yeah, I think it's just that people is like, you know, $70-$80 for the arbor press. I could get one for 50 or something like that. I don't know. I was just kind of surprising to see the backlash on that, but it's not like you really need a fancy one. You can go like most people who have a Harbor Freight access, just go pick up a cheap one. Yeah, there's lots of different clamp options too. This is just the one that I happen to have in my garage. I do have a larger clamp somewhere if I could find it, but luckily I don't need it. So. Yeah, I'm not entirely sure I'd want to swap out the optics, at least not on the K40. It's not necessarily friendly to doing things like that as far as like alignment. I've just letting it sit there long enough. Usually I have to do some sort of tweak to the alignment. Gotcha. Yeah, I've wanted an arbor press in my garage forever. Well, not forever, but it's been on my tool bucket list for a while. I just never had a good enough excuse to go out and get one. Josh gave me that excuse. I can't say though. It's always like little tiny onesie twosie things that end up coming up that make me want to get an arbor press. Um, you know, it's always like one tiny press job at a time, and I usually can just take it to work if I have to. Yeah, I've definitely had my fair share of, you know, it's probably a good thing that you have somebody governing you a little bit, because if you're anything like me, without a governor, you might end up with more than you really truly should have had to begin with. I know I have a large appetite for this type of thing. You know, I've thought about a welder, but honestly, I'm not entirely sure. I feel like trying to learn how to use one. But I do really want to get a CNC mill capable of milling something like that, aluminum crossbar, or the, just like anything like that. It doesn't. I would like like one for big sheets of plywood or something like that too. But if I could just, you know, do something that was at least functional, that would be nice. Yeah, I know what you mean. Before my at the time girlfriend, now wife, moved in with me, like I was actually considering canceling my TV subscriptions and stuff like that, just so I could put it into, whatever. I have a buddy who keeps telling me that he wants to put a CNC plasma cutter in my garage. The only problem is I don't have 220. So, anybody have a guess who the third person sitting in the chat live stream is? I've seen 3 people up on there for a while, unless YouTube counts me as one of the 3 for some reason. Oh, I know what you mean. I've always had to find workarounds for a press, like in those mirror mounts I was talking about the other day. Oh, these guys right here, actually. Right there is a nice 3mm dowel pin that connects the that acts as the hinge for the mirror mount. I could have probably designed a tighter tolerance if I had a press to get them in there. Although that's an awkward enough piece that I don't know how I would have gotten it into a press anyway. Oh, naughty little bolt. I'm like, why is this so loose? Somehow the nut didn't get locked into the extrusion. How do I like the K40? The answer is I don't. Actually, I really dislike it, but I like having a laser cutter, and if I can ever actually get into the black with laser cutting, I'm probably upgrade to a custom built machine using extruded aluminum frame and all that kind of good stuff. Yeah, I know. I would love 220 in my garage. Someday I might even pay an electrician to put it in there for me. What's the alternative to K40? I mean, they've got other versions of laser cutters on eBay that you can go for. There is the laser saw if you have the budget for that. It's a open source laser cutter, 100-watt, like something like a 3-foot by 4-foot build volume. But it's also got a bomb that puts the Jubilee to shame as far as cost goes. That's why I've never gone down that route. I think they have a lot of, they've kind of put it a bit next level, like really not necessarily a cost effective design, more like a highly polished, you know, small business polish level machine. So, but it's pretty impressive. It could probably cut through this MDF I'm working on without a problem, with a pretty without a whole lot of kerf to the cut, or not kerf, where it cuts at an angle. It'll cut it actually remarkably straight. I forget the name of that particular word for some reason off the top of my head. But yeah, I'm pretty sure it's just if you Google search laser saw, you'll find what I'm talking about. I'm sure there's some other, especially nowadays, I'm sure there's some other open source laser cutters that exist. That laser saw was just the huge one for a while. Yeah, like the laser saw is a nice laser cutter. Don't get me wrong. It's just I think it's a bit out of the price bracket for most people. Yes, 6,500. They must have reduced the cost. Last time I looked at it, it was closer to 75. It's like if you look at the bomb revisions, the bomb gets was jumping up by hundreds, if not thousands of dollars every time they updated it for a while. Yeah, like I said, it's a polished machine. It's something that you would be happy to show off in the front of your business. You know, it's not that I wouldn't be happy to do the same with the Jubilee, of course, but um, you know, it doesn't look like somebody just kind of hacked it together. It looks like a professional product, I guess, is kind of what I was getting at. Like as far as like the K40, on the other hand, looks like a pile of poop, in my opinion. It kind of is a pile of poop, really. There's none of the functional bits in the K40 are what the heck? This Allen wrench seems to be trash. Um, cheap Allen wrenches. Guess I'll just loosely tighten with the cheap Allen wrench since it's ball end. I don't know where my decent ball and Allen wrenches went. Only slightly cheaper. Yeah. Maybe it's not the Allen wrench's fault, but these set screws that just don't like to tighten down very much. You want to spend more money than $6,500 on a laser cutter, Ray? I just think it would be nice to have, you know, what do you think about these like tubes that you can get on Amazon for like I don't know, significantly cheaper, let's just say that, than like some of the sources for the quote unquote official tubes? You've had more experience than I ever had with lasers, I'm sure. Get what you pay for. So what ends up happening like that? So like on the Amazon ones, like I don't know the real numbers, so I'm just going to throw out random numbers, but let's pretend like you can get a 60 watt on Amazon for 150, and then you go to like an official laser supply website, and you might see the same 60 watt tube for, let's say, $300 or $400. Like, what is the real difference between that $150 tube and the $350 tube? That's true. You say high quality, but like, what does that mean exactly? So if you get, does that mean that the hours of the tube might be cut in half, or the power of the tube might be cut in half, or you're saying basically a little of both? I mean, I do kind of understand the concept though. Like, I'll go buy an E3D hot end before I ever go buy a knockoff version that I could go get on AliExpress for a tenth the cost. But I kind of understand what the differences are that I'm getting into there versus laser tubes, I guess is what I'm saying. I just realized you can't see what I'm doing at all. Oh, well, it's just one corner. You'll have to deal with it. So I guess I have a random question for you. From your experiences, if you wanted to say build a 60 or 80 watt, like what do you think those two tubes should roughly cost? Do you have any frame of concept for that, or is that just kind of like asking you to tell me what a unicorn really looks like? Random question. I never really watched too many live streams. If somebody goes to watch this later on, are they going to be able to see all of the commentary that you guys are having live chat parallel with the video, so they can actually know what I'm responding to? Or is somebody who comes along and tries to watch this later on just going to have absolutely no idea what I'm talking about? Hey, a live chat reply option. I didn't even see anything that resembles that when I was setting this up. Or is that something you select after the video finishes? All right.
Oh, okay, I gotcha. Well, I think this is probably the most entertaining video I've done. Actually doing something in it for once. Where did... There you are. I knew I grabbed way too few of these. I don't know what was wrong with me. I grabbed 6 set screws for 6 brackets. Brilliant. Okie dokie. Have a good dinner. I'm guessing that's what it is, at least. So, Imp, are you going to live stream your build? Or should I say Steve? Oh, I said, are you going to live stream your build when you get around to it? Somewhat teasing, since I don't expect too many people would be interested in doing their own. Well, if you, I was going to say we could live stream at the same time, but it might be awkward trying to watch 2 YouTube videos simultaneously. Especially if you're some audience member that's trying to figure out what the hell is going on. And oh, probably shouldn't swear on the live stream. Oops. Hey, Brian, how's it going? Oh, no, 1 second. Actually, I'm doing it a little bit differently today. Um, there you go. I finally got YouTube streaming to work. It's just kind of nice because it leaves a video afterwards that somebody could watch if they were sadistic enough to want to subject themselves to watching a live stream, not live. Yeah, so we have Ray, Imp, aka Steve, and Josh just took a break. He said BRB. So we've got a few people in the live stream chat. Yeah. Well, I hear you just fine. Awesome. I wish there was some way to embed it in my name or something so that, or have Discord like acknowledge that a YouTube live stream is somehow going on. I didn't look super hard, but I didn't see an option that was readily available that would do that for Discord. Yeah, with YouTube, at least it exists, and then I can download them later and try to figure out how to compress them into like a time lapse or something. I have two? I had one this morning, which I was, whoo, how about that? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I just got a set of those in too. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was what was recommended in the build, but yeah, I wouldn't want to use anything too powerful anyway. Indeed. I don't have them memorized, to be honest. I know blue and red, and I know of the other colors, but I don't know what their special traits are. Right. Right. Those two are the ones I'm good with, but it's the fancy colors I start to lose track. By the way, you missed from earlier, but if you look at the early part of the live stream, we went through this step right here where we built the two frames together. Yeah, the little frame alignment tool. These things right here. Yeah. Did we learn something? Just to do it. Yeah, actually, these nuts, make sure they're engaged in the rail, because at one point I was screwing and tightening it down, and I'm like, why is this bar still so wiggly? Yeah. And this is nice too, by the way. Yeah, I have some of those too. That could be. Yeah, it sounds useful until you realize that you've got to stick them into this side piece that's already bolted down. You can do it on the outer ones, but you wouldn't be able to do it on the inner ones. So. Oh, are you talking what they have that like little spring tail or spring steel thing? Mm-hmm. Yep. 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 Yeah, I'm also realizing that everybody who's not on the Discord has no idea what I'm talking about right now. Yeah, I wish there was some way I could hook you up so that when you're talking, it pops up in the video if you were willing to do that, but I don't know how to make it happen, even if you were. No, 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 I just meant voice so that people didn't think I was talking to myself. Yeah, it's the stuff that was just in the bomb, basically. Um, I'm just curious. Were you looking in the tool section? Really? I didn't realize that. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I didn't. I don't have my thing aligned to that. I wasn't sure who it was either. So I have misplaced my tool for inserting what do you call them, the heated inserts. Yeah, I think the next step I need to do involves pieces that need those. I ordered a new one, but it's not here till tomorrow. Yeah, I was gonna try to avoid the printed parts until I could the new one came in, but don't think. I don't know. Let me get. Nothing's gonna happen on the video for a second. I'm gonna look around my area, see if I can find it. But Stucker a cat. Okay. I don't know. I haven't done that yet. Oh, I can bring it back up on the screen. Okay. Those are all M4 right there. It might be possible that it was overheated. Couldn't really tell you. I haven't done a lot of inserts myself. Yeah. Gotcha. One thing I noticed, and it might be just the way I printed my parts, we were talking about this earlier, but Josh prints outside in instead of inside out. And it can actually change the outer tolerances of the part. And which way did you happen to print your parts? Yeah, that's my go-to as well. So when I went to assemble something, I ended up yesterday taking a drill and clearing out the those little frame brackets. And we're talking about it earlier, and I think that might have been where your extra material came from, potentially. Mm-hmm. Haha. They didn't really change it. If you actually get into the fine print, are you using a hobbyist license or are you using the quote unquote startup license? Because you can apply. So actually you can apply for the startup license and for free. And if you read the instructions on it, it actually, like they say, oh, this is for a startup business, but then they have a clause 2. And that clause 2 actually tells you that you can use it basically just like you used to use it. And I think your privileges of importing get restored. So it's just a matter of semantics, really. Like what I found. Mm-hmm. I don't think it should be. I mean, yeah, I think Josh I think Josh essentially, called out stainless just because this isn't just a 3D printer. It could be kind of anything. And so he's designed a lot of this stuff to be generic, but I happen to always use stainless steel as well when I'm doing basically whatever I'm doing. But he's a big fan of button heads, though. I don't always use too many button heads in my projects, but I don't mind though. They had links though. If you clicked them, you could. Really? Huh. I didn't have really any problem with the links when I went through it. Right. Hmm. Gotcha. Oh, by the way, I think I might have figured out you, Brian, you were the one that was talking about using the sandpaper the other day, right? So I think I figured out what the difference is. Did you print all your parts in PLA? See, I printed all these in PETG, and it doesn't sand off quite as nicely as PLA, I think. Yeah, I don't generally have a problem with it, but yeah, I see what you mean. And because I actually switched over to print some stuff in PLA, and then when I was taking it off, it finally dawned on me. Oh, that's why it wasn't working. Sorry, I'm going to be deburring some parts, so it probably won't be a particularly interesting section of the video. Oh, is that all? Really hard cookies. Why is that boring? I have a cat. Okay. Deburring all these wasn't so bad till I got to all these little fiddly corners. No, it's not fun. Alrighty, yeah, just FYI, I'll probably be going to bed in about a half hour myself, so have a good night. So are you you're just going to be doing a rail core version with tool? So did you start building the rail core before you were aware of the Jubilee project, or do you just like it better in general? Oh, okay. Yeah, I unfortunately was in the Philippines. Well, I mean, that was fun to be in the Philippines, but I was in the Philippines for the last MRF, so I wasn't able to see everybody. Mhm. Mhm. Right. Well, no, that's completely understandable. I wouldn't ditch the rail core just because I found something else I wanted to do instead, you know. So. I can imagine what you're talking about. I don't know exactly what you're talking about, but I think I got a good idea. Right. Yeah. Right. Yeah, I gotcha. Yeah, I was actually redesigning the frame for my big box, and it was turning, and then I was like, I went from just kind of doing an aluminum extrusion and expanding it, and then I'm like, well, maybe rails would be cool. So I started CADing the rails, and then Josh's Twitter post hit where he was doing his own version of the tool changer. So then I was trying to incorporate that, and eventually got to the point where I'm like, why am I doing this when I could just, and then the Jubilee came out, and then it was like, well, I think my project's dead now. Correct. I purchased I was doing a 30-30 frame for the big box, which I still might do because I actually did purchase just the material part, and then I might just try to transfer as much of the rest of the big box over as best as I can. Hmm. Right. 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 Welcome back. Right. Low profile, yeah. I'd ask Josh. I was just like, yeah, I'd ask Josh about some of the torques before. I was mostly worried about the carbon. Yeah, for me, I was mostly asking him because I wasn't sure if what kind of considerations you had to worry about for the carbon fiber beam. you define galling? Really? Oh, that's enough deburring for now. I can say that on my big bucks, oh, I was just going to say on my big box, all the hardware that E3D put out was black out. And there's a couple screws where you can definitely see a little bit of rust. So how do you guys keep the brass on the soldering iron? I haven't yet. Sure. Yeah, well, that. Oh, yeah. Ah, that's spiffy. Right. Oh, yeah, no. That makes. Yeah. 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 What's that? Seems like it's about appropriate for this. I can. Yeah, there's actually, the brass does not go all the way down. The heating element is still holding it up a little bit. It just, yes, just the tiniest little gap where I can still see the heating element. So, yeah, this is an Xtronics. It's not the most expensive, but it's not too bad of a soldering station. So, are you talking about this? I was talking about the Dremel drill press. I'm sorry, say that one more time. Right, you're talking about. I think I see what you're saying. So if you know, if I took, let's see, I think it would, it's almost where it's but not quite. So I'd probably be in pretty good danger of burning those threads up right there. Mm-hmm. You know what? What drives? I have a compound sliding miter saw, and I like went through the whole saw and tried to square it up, but as soon as the temperature changes, you go back out there, and it seems like the angles are all wrong again. If you're looking for like a perfect angle. Yeah, but I don't have a machine shop. I have a garage, so. Oh, thanks. I think I'm going to start the inserts tomorrow. I'm going to be heading to bed here soon. I was just skimming through the article. I've seen this article. Yeah, I've seen the article before, but I figured I should refresh myself. Yeah, so if you switch back over to the yeah, so like these parts right here are all M4s, and then these parts are M3s. Although I swear the bomb called out M5s as well because I bought them. Um, I think you know. I think what it was is I think the first version of the V2 bomb had 5 M5s on there. Oh, because I bought everything off the first V2 bomb. Yeah, I overbought several things on the bomb just because it's like if you lose some fiddly bit, like it's be really irritating to have to wait for it to ship again. Yeah, it was pretty quick. Yeah, but you don't want to have to pay shipping every time. Alrighty, I think I'm gonna close down the stream here.